really interesting, how much we think about romantic relationships.
Yeah.
I mean, finding them, building them, keeping them healthy.
Right. It's like this universal quest.
Yeah. It's like we all want that connection.
Yeah.
And today, on the deep dive, we're going deep into that.
Absolutely.
We've got this material that digs into how to navigate this whole world of romantic connections.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're single and searching or you've been with someone for, years and years.
Right. Wherever you are in that journey.
This is for you.
And our mission is to pull out the really practical, actionable stuff from all this, the stuff that can actually help you.
Yeah, because everyone's got an opinion on this.
Oh, yeah. Everyone's a relationship expert.
Right, exactly. But what we really want to get to are those underlying principles, the stuff that really leads to fulfilling relationships.
Right. The stuff that actually works.
Exactly. And the source we've been looking at really breaks down these different stages. So we're going to try to give you really good, useful nuggets.
Yeah, the good stuff, the stuff you can actually use.
No matter where you are on your journey.
Okay, so let's jump in. The first big thing is about finding a healthy relationship. And it might sound obvious, but the source really emphasizes that it starts with you.
It really does.
It's all about self-awareness, right?
Yeah, it is. It's foundational, actually. Think of it like building anything. You need that solid foundation.
Right.
And with relationships, that foundation is self-awareness, really understanding yourself.
So what does that actually mean?
Well, think about things like, what are your core values? What are those things that you absolutely won't compromise on in a partner?
Okay.
What kind of energy do you want in your relationship?
That's a good one.
Yeah, getting really clear on all of that becomes like this internal compass.
Yeah, like it guides you in the right direction.
Exactly. It points you towards connections that are more likely to be healthy in the long run.
Right. So you're not wasting time with the wrong people.
Yeah. And it's not just about knowing what you want, right?
Okay, what else is there?
Well, the source really emphasizes emotional availability. It's like you can have all the right intentions, but if you're still holding on to a lot of unresolved hurt from your past.
Oh, yeah, baggage. We've all got it.
Right, exactly. It can get in the way of opening yourself up to something new and healthy.
Yeah, you can't build something new on a foundation of, old rubble.
That's a great way to put it. It's like you're trying to pour water into a glass that's already full.
Yeah, there's just no room.
Exactly.
So what's the solution?
Well, taking that time for self-reflection, healing those old wounds,
Yeah.
it helps you approach new relationships from a much healthier place.
A place of wholeness.
Exactly. Like you're bringing your best self to the table.
Okay, so let's say you've done that work. You're ready to meet someone. What's next?
Well, the source talks about being intentional about it.
Right, not just waiting for it to happen.
Exactly. You're not just sitting at home hoping for the best.
Yeah, I get what you mean.
If you want to meet someone who truly aligns with you, you have to be proactive.
So what does that look like?
It means putting yourself in environments where you're more likely to meet people who share your values, your interests.
Okay, so give me some examples.
Think about the things you enjoy: art classes, hiking groups, volunteering.
Right, doing things you actually like.
Exactly.
Not forcing yourself into situations that feel awkward.
Right. And those shared experiences can be such a great starting point.
Yeah, it's more natural. You're already connecting over something you both enjoy.
Absolutely.
And the source also mentions dating apps, which, let's face it, are a big part of dating these days.
Oh yeah, they're everywhere.
But it's not all about swiping, right?
Not at all. Digital platforms can be a helpful tool, but they shouldn't be the only one.
So don't forget about those real-life connections.
Precisely. Meeting someone face-to-face gives you a much richer understanding of who they are.
Yeah, you can feel their energy, see their body language.
Exactly. And those shared experiences in real life can create a much stronger bond.
Now, when you are meeting people, the source has this really great piece of advice. It says, shift your focus from finding this perfect person to focusing on compatibility.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Because who is perfect anyway, right?
Right. And that checklist in our heads can be pretty unrealistic.
Absolutely. Perfection is a myth.
Yeah, and chasing it can make you miss out on amazing people.
Exactly. So instead of perfection, focus on compatibility.
So what does that mean?
It means looking for those essential elements that really make a relationship work long term.
Okay. Like what?
Well, shared core values are non-negotiable. These are those fundamental beliefs that are going to guide your lives together.
Right. So if you have completely different values, that's going to cause problems down the line.
Definitely. And then there's communication. Being able to talk openly, honestly, really hearing each other. And of course, respect. Basic respect for one another, that's the bare minimum.
Yeah, it's the foundation for any healthy relationship.
Absolutely, yeah.
And the source even makes this distinction between shared hobbies and shared values.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, like, it's great if you both love hiking, but
Hey.
if you don't share those fundamental values like honesty, kindness, those hiking trips aren't going to fix anything.
Exactly. The shared hobbies, those are like sprinkles on a cake. They're nice, but they're not the cake itself.
I like that analogy.
The shared values, those are the cake, that's the substance.
Okay, so you've met someone, there's a spark, things are going well. What happens next?
Well, then we move into the phase of building a healthy relationship.
Okay, so we've moved past that initial attraction.
Right. That initial chemistry is important, but it's really just the beginning.
Okay.
Building a strong, healthy relationship takes more than just a spark.
Right, so what else is needed?
It takes effort, conscious effort, and developing some key skills, especially in how you connect with each other on a deeper level.
So it's about going deeper.
Exactly. Moving beyond that surface level.
And communication comes up again here.
Big time.
The source basically says it's the backbone of everything.
I'd agree with that.
But it's not just about talking, right?
No, not at all. It's about how you talk and how you listen.
So it's the quality of the communication that matters.
Exactly. It's a dynamic exchange. You express your own thoughts and feelings clearly and honestly, but you also have to actively listen to your partner.
Right. Really hear what they're saying.
Exactly. Pay attention to their words, their body language, and try to understand their perspective, even if it's different from yours.
Yeah, that can be hard sometimes.
It can be. But asking clarifying questions, validating their emotions, that builds a sense of being heard and understood.
Right. And that's so important in any relationship.
Absolutely.
Now, the source also talks about conflict, which can be a tough topic for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's something people tend to avoid.
But the way it frames conflict is really interesting. It's not a sign of failure.
Right.
It's actually an inevitable part of being close to someone.
I like that way of thinking about it.
It's how you handle it that matters.
Yeah.
Avoiding it is actually more damaging.
That's so true. Disagreements are bound to happen.
Yeah, you're two different people. You're not going to agree on everything.
Exactly. So the key is to learn how to resolve conflicts in a healthy way.
Okay, so how do you do that?
Well, focus on addressing the issue respectfully.
Right.
Try to understand each other's needs.
Okay.
And work towards solutions that feel fair to both of you.
Yeah, it's about finding that compromise.
Exactly. You don't want to let resentment build up.
Right, or fall into unhealthy fighting patterns.
Exactly.
Another key element in building a healthy relationship is trust. And the source reminds us that trust isn't just given. It has to be earned.
It does. It's built over time.
Through consistent actions.
Right. It's about being reliable.
Doing what you say you're going to do.
Showing up.
Right. Being there for each other.
Exactly. Consistency creates that sense of security and predictability for your partner.
Yeah, you know they've got your back.
Absolutely. And the source goes a little deeper with trust, too. It talks about emotional safety.
Okay, what does that mean?
It means creating an environment where both of you feel comfortable being vulnerable, sharing your fears, your insecurities.
Without feeling judged.
Exactly.
Yeah, that takes a lot of trust.
It does. But that's what true intimacy comes from.
Right, that deep connection.
Exactly.
The source then talks about this really important idea of balancing your way with your me.
Yeah, maintaining your own identity within the relationship.
Right, not losing yourself in the relationship.
Exactly. It's crucial for your well-being.
And for the health of the relationship, too.
Absolutely. You should feel like your life is enhanced by the relationship, not consumed by it.
So what does maintaining your me look like?
Well, keep your friendships.
Okay.
Pursue your own passions.
Right, keep doing the things you love.
Exactly. It gives you a sense of fulfillment outside of the relationship.
And it prevents that unhealthy over-reliance on your partner.
Right. The source makes a distinction between healthy interdependence and codependence.
Okay, can you explain that a little more?
Sure. Interdependence is when you and your partner rely on each other for support. But you both still have your own autonomy, your own sense of self.
Okay.
Codependence is when one or both partners rely too heavily on the other.
So their identity is wrapped up in the relationship.
Exactly. And that can lead to unhealthy dynamics.
Right, where one person's needs are always prioritized over the others.
Exactly.
Okay, so you found someone great, you're building that strong connection. Now we come to the part we all hope for.
Yeah.
Maintaining that healthy relationship over the long term.
The long haul.
And the source kind of debunks this myth that it should just run on autopilot after a while.
Yeah, it's not a set it and forget it kind of thing.
Right. Like you can't just assume it's going to stay strong without any effort.
Exactly. It requires ongoing conscious effort.
So even after the honeymoon phase is over.
Especially then, you have to actively nurture the connection. Because you both change over time, the relationship changes.
Right. So you have to adapt to those changes.
Absolutely.
And one of the keys to keeping that spark alive, according to the source, is to keep dating each other.
I love it.
Even years down the line.
It's not just about the big anniversaries.
Right. It's about those everyday moments.
Exactly. It's about consistently injecting fun and playfulness into the relationship.
Like, remember those early days, all that effort you put into planning dates.
Right. Showing your interest.
Exactly. Well, keep doing that.
Absolutely. Date nights, shared activities, little surprises.
Keep things exciting.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be grand gestures. It can be small, thoughtful things.
Right. It's about that consistent effort.
And sometimes it's about those small things that made a difference early on.
Like what?
Like, remember how you used to ask them about their day? That genuine curiosity that often fades over time.
It does.
But bringing it back can be really powerful.
So pay attention. Really listen.
Exactly.
The source also highlights the importance of regular check-ins as a couple.
That's a good one.
Yeah, it's not something that a lot of couples do. But it sounds like it could be really valuable.
It can be. It's about creating a space for open and honest communication.
So what do you talk about during these check-ins?
How you're feeling in the relationship.
Okay.
What's working well, what could be improved.
Right. It's a chance to make sure you're both still on the same page.
Exactly. And that your needs are being met both individually and as a couple.
Right. Because things change. And these check-ins help you adapt to those changes together.
Exactly.
And when those inevitable conflicts do arise, even in long-term relationships,
Right.
the source offers some really practical advice on handling them constructively.
Like what?
Well, it talks about using I statements, which is a classic piece of advice, but it's important.
It is. Why are I statements so helpful?
Well, they shift the focus to your own experience. So instead of blaming your partner, which just puts them on the defensive,
Right.
you're explaining how their actions make you feel.
Okay, so give me an example.
Sure. Instead of saying, you never listen to me, which is a you statement,
Okay.
you could say, I feel unheard when you interrupt me.
Right, so you're focusing on your own feelings.
Exactly. And that encourages a more empathetic dialogue.
Yeah, it makes it less accusatory.
Exactly. And the source also emphasizes staying calm during conflict, taking breaks if things get too heated.
That's so important.
The goal is understanding a resolution.
Not winning the argument.
Exactly.
And what about maintaining a long-term relationship? Anything else?
Yeah, the source really emphasizes the importance of mutual growth,
Oh, that makes sense.
supporting each other's individual goals, and exploring new experiences together.
So you're growing together, but also individually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It keeps things interesting.
Right. It could be travel, learning a new skill, working on a project together.
All those shared experiences strengthen your bond.
They create memories.
Exactly.
So it sounds like maintaining a healthy relationship takes a lot of work.
It does. But it's good work.
Right. It's worth it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, let's shift gears a bit. The source also talks about red flags, those warning signs that a relationship might be unhealthy.
Oh, yeah. It's important to be aware of those.
So what are some of the key red flags to watch out for?
Well, the source highlights several. One is consistent disrespect.
Okay, like what kind of behavior?
Belittling comments, dismissive behavior, anything that makes you feel less than.
Right, like you're not valued.
Exactly. Another red flag is poor communication.
Okay, so what does that look like?
It could be defensiveness, where one person always deflects blame. Stonewalling, where someone shuts down during disagreements.
Yeah, they just refuse to engage.
Exactly. Or constant criticism.
Right, always finding fault.
Another major red flag is controlling behavior.
Okay, what are some examples of that?
Trying to isolate you from your friends and family.
Right.
Monitoring your phone or social media. Making decisions for you without your input.
So, basically, trying to control your life.
Exactly. And it undermines your autonomy in the relationship.
That's not healthy at all.
No, it's not. And it's important to recognize that early on.
Before it escalates.
Exactly. The source also mentions lack of accountability.
Yeah, that seems huge.
It is. If someone can never admit they're wrong,
Right.
or take responsibility for their actions, that creates a real imbalance in the relationship.
And it makes it impossible to resolve conflict.
Exactly. Because you're not both taking ownership.
And the last red flag the source mentions is emotional unavailability.
Oh, yeah, that can be tough.
It can. Because you're in a relationship, but you still feel alone.
Exactly. It's like a lack of connection.
Yeah, you don't feel seen or heard.
Right. And it's not just about not wanting a relationship. It can show up in other ways.
Okay, so how do you know if someone's emotionally unavailable?
They might consistently change the subject when you try to talk about feelings. They avoid intimacy, both physical and emotional.
Okay.
They might be critical of your vulnerable expressions.
So they basically shut down emotionally.
In a way, yeah. And that can be really damaging to a relationship.
So those are definitely things to watch out for.
Absolutely. Pay attention to those red flags.
So as we wrap up, what's the main takeaway from all this? What's the big message about healthy relationships?
The key message is that healthy relationships don't just happen by accident.
Right. They take work.
They do. They require intention, effort, conscious choices.
It's about building that foundation of trust and respect.
Exactly. And those shared values.
And it's ongoing. You have to keep nurturing the relationship.
Absolutely. It's a continuous process of growth and adaptation.
And I really liked how the source challenged that idea of needing someone else to complete you.
Yeah, that's so important.
It frames healthy relationships as partnerships.
Right. Two whole individuals choosing to share their lives.
And supporting each other's growth.
It's about interdependence, not codependence.
Right. You're stronger together, but you still maintain your own sense of self.
Exactly.
Well, I hope this deep dive has been helpful, no matter where you are in your relationship journey.
I hope so too. These are complex topics, but understanding these principles can make a real difference.
Absolutely. It's about creating those fulfilling connections.
And remember, building and maintaining healthy relationships is a journey. It's not always easy.
Right. There are going to be ups and downs.
Exactly. But be patient with yourself and your partner.
And keep learning and growing.
Absolutely.
So here's a final thought for you to ponder.
Okay, I'm listening.
What resonated with you most from all of this? And what's one small step you can take today to nurture your own relationships?
That's a good question.
Whether you're looking for love, just starting out, or you've been with someone for years, there's always something we can do to strengthen our connections.
So true.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll see you next time.
See you then.